and gentlemen, and welcome to Somerville High School. Before tonight's game, we would like to have a very special ceremony to honor Jerry Knight as the first inductee to Somerville High School Athletics Ring of Honor. At this time, I would like to invite current Somerville High School Athletic Director Stan Vieira to the podium.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight is a very special night as we all come together tonight to celebrate the many contributions of one Jerry Knight. Jerry left an amazing imprint on the city of Somerville and the high school here, as well as the athletic department over his many years of service. The relationships that he built, the students that he helped develop and mentor, and the legacy that he has forever left behind. We're all here tonight because of the impact he had on so many people. It's actually very hard to find the words to say thank you for somebody who spanned so many years. I graduated in the class of '87 at Somerville High School, and I remember Jerry Knight being larger than life. Like, it was amazing to watch him just walk through the halls. From the bottom of my heart, on behalf of Somerville High School and the city of Somerville, I can't state enough how thankful we are for all the years Jerry Knight gave to us and everything he did for us and still does for us. Thank you, Jerry, for doing so much for so many people and being such a giant part of our community. And again, still a major giant part of our community, and the legacy continues. Thank you very much.
At this time, we would like to invite Rich Melillo to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight's really a special night, seeing so many people from Somerville here, part of the tradition and history. And I did a lot of research into this little presentation, so hopefully you'll enjoy it and you'll find some interesting facts about Jerry. So I'm going to start off with, it's with great pleasure and enthusiasm that I have the opportunity to present to you the very first Somerville High School Athletic Ring of Honor recipient, Jerry Knight. Here with Jerry. Here with Jerry is his son Adam, his brother David, and his sister Mary, who came up from Florida. It's exciting to see so many former Highlanders here tonight to witness this tremendous presentation, this honor to Jerry, a father, a coach, a mentor, an educator, an athletic administrator. I'm going to ask you to allow me to delve into the nostalgic for a minute. For many of us here tonight, we grew up hearing the tales of Somerville High basketball greats: Ron Perry, John Nunziato, Roy Peterson, Joe DiSarcina, Billy Endicott, Mike Fahey, and of course the man we honor tonight, Jerry Knight. For those of you watching on TV, for those of us here tonight, I can confidently state to you that there were few, if any, high schools in Massachusetts that could match the basketball history, basketball pride, basketball success of the Somerville Highlander program from the 1940s on. So many of my teammates are here tonight, and for many of us, our goal is just to play for the Highlanders, a program steeped in tradition. When I walked into this gym in 1968, the old gym, I couldn't believe the chant, the SOMERVILLE. When I heard that, I knew I wanted to play for the basketball greats, Walter Perry and Jerry Knight. Bob Mello and I played for Jerry and coached under him, and I believe we're the only two. Jerry left such an impression on both of us, and we talked about this earlier. He consistently demonstrated and professed how important it was to don the red and blue jersey across your chest. He made it important. He deemed it an honor that came with responsibility. When we wore that jersey in school, when we wore it in the community, we had to be respectful. That is something, I don't know how we found out, but if we weren't, he found out and let us know. It was amazing. He was all about pride, tradition, and respect. As a player, Jerry played for Somerville High, 1960-61 varsity. He totaled 900 points as he captained the Highlanders and led them deep into the Tech tourney. and was selected as a Boston Herald and Boston Traveler All-Scholastic. He was recognized as one of the best players in Massachusetts, earning multiple Division I scholarships. Some of his high points, and there were many, but I want to point out a few. Jerry held a tech tournament record for over 25 years for most points scored by a team, by an individual. That's impressive. One of his proudest memories is Somerville, when we always beat someone from Ringe or Cambridge. That's a big proud moment for Jerry. And we beat Ringe, and they were led by Billy Hewitt, who played in the NBA for 6 years. Jerry scored 35 points, scored the last 4 points to seal the victory. But I want you to imagine this. There were 13,909 at the Garden that night. There were 7,000 people from Somerville, and they carried him off the floor after that night. Pretty impressive. I think that deserves a round of applause for him. So what few people know is that Jerry was an all-around athlete. And when I did this research, I was pretty surprised. There was a rumor that he was recruited by Dave Dickerson for track here, because Dave's been coaching there for about 70 years, but I'm not sure if that's true. We're looking into it. Jerry ran cross country. I want you to think about that. Jerry Knight ran cross country, and he was champion of the GBL his senior year. Amazing. He also ran outdoor track, the half mile, and the mile. Somerville was a GBL champion. They were 8-0. Listen to this. He finished first in all but 3 races his senior year, in the half mile and mile. Amazing. He also played football. Now, we know Jerry doesn't like the cold, so he didn't last long, but he had 15 touchdowns in his freshman year, which is impressive. Now, Jerry was not just an athlete, as everybody knows. Anybody that knows Jerry, he has charisma and a certain presence about him. Evidence of this was that he was voted the senior prom king. And that was guided by his charm and his signature Irish afro. Now, those of us who played for Jerry know there was no charm in practice, I can tell you that. The only time you knew Jerry was in a good mood when he started taking hook shots at the end of practice. That's when we knew we were okay. The other thing I would just want to stress how Jerry was, he was such an impressive personality in Somerville. He had one of the nicest cars in Somerville. He's probably surprised I'm saying this. He drove a 1964 Cadillac Fleetwood Kelly Green with 2-inch white walls around his tires. And when he got married, his wife said, "Jerry, get rid of that thing." After graduating from Somerville High, he spent a year at UMass Amherst. He didn't realize when he went out there were all trees out there. And he immediately transferred to his beloved alma mater, Northeastern University. He captained the Huskies his senior year. He played 3 years for the Huskies, and he led them in scoring. He was also a valued alumni and became the president of the Husky Basketball Club. Now, Jerry Knight, the coach. He was hired by the legendary Walter Perry in 1966 to lead the junior varsity team, 66 to 71. And there's a number of us here tonight that were on his first team. In 71, he was undefeated, 18-0. But the thing that strikes me about Jerry in our conversation, there were 150 kids tried out for the JV team. He had 3 days to pick it, and he had to choose 15 kids from 150 kids. An amazing task. He was hired in 1972 as the Highlander varsity coach. He guided the Highlanders from 72 to 85 with an outstanding 202-78 record, leading the Highlanders to 12 postseason tournament bids and multiple GBL titles. Impressive. Of particular note is Jerry coached the Highlanders to 2 undefeated seasons, 1975 and 1980. I haven't seen the 80 captains, but I think they're here. But the 75 captains have contacted me, and they were Bob Mello, Bob Endicott, and his brother David Knight. Truly an incredible accomplishment. GBL was considered probably the best league in Massachusetts. So Jerry retired from coaching in 1986, taking the reins of the director of PE Health and Athletics, holding this position for 20 years. In my conversations with Jerry, he was particularly proud of his administrative role in Somerville, especially his involvement in Title IX, supporting women's athletics. This is really impressive. Jerry championed the addition of 12 levels of women's sports to Somerville High School. That is worthy of a round of applause there. He also initiated wrestling and volleyball into our interscholastic program. And in response to difficult fiscal times in the 1980s, Jerry co-founded the Somerville Highlanders Association, which was a fundraising group made up of citizens from Somerville that supported Somerville High athletics. He later became the president of the GBL, and he kept the GBL together for many years. His presence was monumental. In researching and talking about Jerry and trying to find out what I could say about him, I can unequivocally state that Jerry Knight, the AD, was recognized by the Somerville High coaches as a tremendous resource. He was a real supporter of the coaches, but there was a catch to it. Jerry was supportive, but he didn't sugarcoat things. You always knew where you stood. You were held to a high standard, and Somerville was always to be respected. I can share this with you. One time I was on the hot seat, and I got the phone call, come up and see me. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. How many technicals did I get last game? And I said, I got an idea. I'm going to stop at Thurston Street Spa, and I'm going to get a Johnny Special for $1.25. And I brought it up. His two hands were on that Johnny Special, and they weren't around my neck, and I was very excited about that. On a serious note, from his first day until the day he retired, you always knew how important Somerville High athletics were to the player, the coach, and the AD named Jerry Knight. He personified tradition and pride. He absolutely was one of the greatest players to ever lace up the Converse All-Stars for the Highlanders. He was also one of the greatest coaches to patrol the sidelines of the old gym, along with the likes of legends Jim Sullivan and Walter Perry. There were few men, and I mean this, few men who excel as a father, a player, a coach, and an administrator. He committed his professional life to the Somerville Public Schools from 1966 to 2006, over 40 years of dedicated service to our great community. At this time, I would ask that his son Adam, his brother David, and his sister Mary escort Jerry to the podium, and I ask you all to rise and welcome the Ring of Honor recipient, Coach Jerry Knight. All right, hang on, Gus. Not yet. Hang on. So I'm going to ask Bob Mello, who played under Coach Knight and coached under Coach Knight, along with Frank Beebe, his captain of his first undefeated team at Somerville High, to come up and present the plaque. Bob Mello.
Coach Knight, on behalf of all your teams, all your former players, and the outstanding career you had as a coach and administrator, we'd like to present to you tonight this Ring of Honor plaque. It reads, Jerry Knight, class of 1961, Somerville High School outstanding student athlete, educator, administrator, successful coach, and mentor, Coach Jerry Knight.
And now I'd like to ask Coach Mark Antonelli to come up with his captains and present Jerry with a signed ball from the team and the players. Coach Anto? Want to say a word? So our next step is we have a banner over here that we're going to release. We're going to have Adam Knight and David Knight over to the banner, please, with our assistant athletic director. All right, here we go. And now I'd like to ask Coach Knight to come up and say a few words. Coach Knight.
I think I'll hire Richie for my public relations guy because I was a lot better now than I was then. But I'm sorry I was late tonight. My bike got a flat tire and I had to take a car and it took me 20 minutes longer than it normally would. So I apologize for being late. And I wanted to tell you about friends and thoughtfulness. Are there any members from the Mitford Malden Lodge here of Elks? Would you please stand up? Mitford Lodge of Elks, please stand up. Don't deny it. Well, these guys all got together and they sent me a letter to say what a great honor this is. And the first letter came from the Elks, and I wanted to read it. It said, "Dear Member 445, congratulations on your honor. You haven't paid your dues yet. Let's get it up." Oh, the sentiment is unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Casey's Lounge. I happened to go there on Monday nights to see my son. Mike Philpott, Danny Fitz sent me a letter. Dear patron of Table 2, congratulations. By the way, you haven't paid your tab. Get the money up. The sentiment is unbelievable. I can't believe it. The mayor of Medford, lovely lady. Dear resident of Medford, you haven't paid your taxes yet. Get it up. Well, that's different stuff anyway. The history of Somerville basketball with me started in 1954. My brother was a player here. And it's 75 years. It's a long time to be involved in Somerville, but I loved every minute of it. I loved coaching the basketball team. I'm not sure they loved coaching me, having me be their coach, but we did it. We had a great success, and it wasn't because of me. It was because of them. It was their hard work and my demanding that they work hard. I didn't want sweat. I wanted blood. You are playing for Somerville High School, and I guess the chairman, no one could be prouder. And they responded. They responded so well. I thought I was getting to be a coach, but it was really the players that made the Somerville High School that I coached. They were just wonderful, wonderful, and I want to thank them for coming tonight. And I saw people I haven't seen in 40 years. It's just so fantastic. I want to thank my sister Mary for coming up from Florida, my brother David, my brother Adam, and the rest of the Knights. Stand up. If you're a Knight, stand up. Just fantastic, fantastic. As I say, I started playing in 1950 up at St. Catherine's Church on Summer Street, and then I got involved in Somerville High School sports, I said, in 1954, and I got the bug. The bug. Somerville High School, the bug. And I can remember in the winter, we didn't shovel our sidewalks. We went down to the park and shoveled the park out so we could play basketball. My father hit me so many times for not shoveling the walk, but that's the way it was. We just had to do that. And I really appreciate that. I used to play at Conway Park, by the way. I was the JV coach for a couple of years, head coach for a couple of years. I had two players that, because they could shoot, kept me out of jail. Doing the games are tied. Only seconds to go. The players who were supposed to shoot shot the ball. One was Richie Melillo, and the other was John Revere. So I diagrammed it. It looked like the Los Angeles freeway. You couldn't see a thing. And we put the ball in, and Richie just took the ball and fired. And I jumped up, ready to grab his neck and strangle him to death. But it was a swish. Oh, just what I wanted, just the way I diagrammed it. And Johnny Revere, the same thing. I was talking to Johnny. I got this, Johnny. You got this. I got it. We gave him the ball. Swish. Yay! But I was going to kill him. Because that's the way I was. I didn't like that not doing what I said to do. But those two plays are very memorable to me. My philosophy is, if you're going to play the game, you got to work at it. I don't care what the game is. Track, basketball, football.
math, English, I don't care what it is. If you want to be good at it, you got to work at it. And that's what we always expected from the Somerville High School kids, and my guys, they really worked at it. Richie and I were talking, we were probably the best team in Eastern Massachusetts along with Durfee, Mass. The thing that was different about Somerville High School was all our kids came from Somerville. There was a lot of recruiting going on from other towns and getting basketball players and stuff like this. And the only player I know that didn't grow up in Somerville was Danny Fitzgerald, who came from Quincy, but he moved here. And thank God he was a hell of a player, so we're very happy about that. And Richie and I both agreed the honor of coaching all Somerville people was a great honor to me. I take pride in it. Richie and I both had the same problem. Coaches, college coaches called us up. One of them, a good friend of mine, he had a 7'3" sophomore from Africa, and he wanted to hide him in Somerville. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. That's not Somerville, that's not basketball. That's not sport, that's cheating. And I couldn't allow that. I wouldn't let my players do it. Would my former players please stand up? Former players? Those guys were good. They were good players. And still to this day, we have a common bond. We are all eligible for AARP. It's great to see you guys up there getting that mail every week. Send us $15. But we do have a bond. We'll always be from Somerville. I lived in Medford for 40 years. The people ask me where I'm from. I say from Somerville. One of my... Then I became the AD, and of course they told you about the girls' sports. I was very concerned about women's sports, and we did a nice job there, I thought. And one of the people that was a real supporter of me to become athletic director is here tonight. And I got to say a special word for my friend Gene Bruin, who was former mayor of Somerville. He was very instrumental. Thank you, Gene. I'm 82. He's 95. He looks better. He looks a lot better. But he did it for me. The school committee, former mayors, they were always supportive of Somerville High School, and it made it a lot easier to coach because they supported the teams. They took away users' fees and things like that. It made it a lot easier as an AD. I've had a few honors in my life. Excuse me, I got a cold. Nothing will surpass that. Ever. I will. I'll try to go on because I'm going to finish now. When I was a kid, we had a song. I think everybody had a favorite song when they're younger. They have a favorite. I have a favorite song that I'm going to sing for you. So if you want to leave, leave now, because I'm going to. Girls, you want to help me? Cheerleaders, you want to help me? Don't panic. This is not an attack. We were going to sing Wave High. I think you know what you're going to help me with. We're going to sing Wave High. Okay. I'm just going to sing it. And if you happen to know this song, please sing it. You ready? You ready? Wave high your gilded banners, for Somerville leads the way. Our teams will fight for victory, for Somerville leads the way. We got the gorgeous red to lift the head, we got the good without the blue. Fight with all our might for the team today, we also Somerville leads the way. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. God bless. God bless.
All right, thank you, everybody, for this wonderful, wonderful celebration. And we got a game to play.
And good evening and welcome to Highlanders basketball. My name is Jeff Argenziano and you have just been a part of the first inductee Ring of Honor ceremony for former player, head coach, athletic director, Jerry Knight. What he brought to Somerville, what he means to this school system, what he means to this basketball court itself is gone without words, is well beyond without words. And as Jerry Knight just stated in his speech, as he pointed over to the banner, and these are the words you will remember forever, and he will hold in his heart forever, as he pointed over to that banner, which symbolizes the Ring of Honor, and he said, "Nothing will surpass that." This gives a chance for everybody to appreciate what is happening in your lives, what is happening with your family, what is happening with your friends. My long-term partner, Kevin Scott, of 29 years. Kevin has been doing the games for 32 years. Tonight, he is representing us and representing himself, his family, in the place he works at the funeral of Michael Baboul, former UMass star, North Attleboro star, and head coach of Thayer Academy. I'll talk about that later on. But let's all take a moment of silence to think about and respect Michael Baboul, who passed away on December 30th. Kevin Scott is at the funeral, the wake, tonight, representing us and representing his family and his business.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Eugene Broon Fieldhouse here at Somerville High School for tonight's game as your Somerville Highlanders face off against Greater Boston League opponent, the Revere Patriots. And now the starting lineup for the visiting Patriots. Number 0, Captain Joshua Mercado. Number 4, Captain Avi Lung. Number 12, Eric Mayorga. Number 21, Noah Ramos. And number 22, Devin Berry. And now the starting lineup for your Somerville Highlanders. Junior, number 1, Jacob Underwood Roach. Sophomore, number 2, Julian Goodridge. Senior, number 3, Jackson Pyman. Junior, number 10, Tommy Griffin. And junior, number 34, Carlins Leenan. The Highlanders are coached by Mr. Mark Antonelli.
Tommy Griffin with an amazing performance against Wilmington, the game that took place at Salem State University. So Tommy Griffin got to perform on the hardwood where college teams perform, where former player from Somerville sitting on your bench, one of your great coaches, Jimmy McEwen, once laced it up for, so who's missing here? 4-0. 12. Mayorga. Ball's out of bounds on the tip. Retap. No possession.
Thank you, sir. We're going to try it again.
Your officials tonight, Mr. Brian Allison, and your umpire is Mr. Dave Galizzi. Time should not have gone off the clock. Secures the possession is Tommy Griffin. Over to Julian. Jackson Pyman out on the wing. Somerville swept Revere last year in highly competitive game at Revere. Rebound by number 22, Berry. Crossover, number 4, Lung. Ethan Day for 3, high scorer. Ethan Day has been an impressive performance this year so far. High scoring games we'll go over at during timeouts, but I'm not going over records by Jerry Knight. Somerville down 3-0 to start off this game. Jerry Knight parading the baseline, as you can see. That's where he normally stood in his AD. Tommy Griffin baseline, up fake, pass into the paint, turnover. Tommy Griffin, steal Ethan Day, all the way in. Great defensive play, but a rebound to Carlins. Defensive board. Joe, I'm going to be calling on you a lot today to tell me if I miss anything. But I'm not going to miss that. By Underwood, tipped up, rebound by number 22, Berry. That's 2 rebounds. 6:45 left to go in the first quarter. Ethan Day guarded tightly by Jackson Pyman. Now double, triple team basically. Wide open is number 4, Lung. Rebound again to 12, Mayorga. And that's Mayorga's first 2 points. He's had double figures many games this year. David Leary, the head coach, now in his 8th season. Foul will be on number 22, Ethan Berry, his first, team's first. Now remember, the quarters now reset. Going to the line is Jacob Underwood Roach for 2. First 2 free throws of the game. Again, not active tonight is your high 3-point shooter, one of your leading scorers, Danny Schmidt. So somebody has to pick up those points, and right now so far it's Jacob Underwood Roach who's doing that. Alyssa Mackey walking in front of me. Pressure defense on Mercado in the backcourt. Mercado had a huge game last year here in Somerville against Revere. Revere not making the tournament last year. Running the weave. Here comes Ethan Day around the swing, but they don't find him. All the way for 2. Jump ball, possession to Revere. Possession, Revere. Tap was won by Somerville, so that's your first. That's your first tie-up, as they say. I'm sure throughout the game, Joe Constantine and Bill Trudell will be giving you beautiful shots of that Ring of Honor. Plenty of room on there. Who will be next? Up to number 12, Mayorga. Mayorga's power in the paint, a great rebounder. But even a better rebounder is Jackson Pyman. And you warn your players, as you just saw there from Lung, just let the ball throw a bounce pass. Don't fire it to the ref, because some refs might get with an itchy whistle there, and they might call a delay a game on that. So all you watching at home, if they ever make a call, just throw a nice bounce pass. Turnover. Lung gets the, actually it's Mayorga, over to Ethan Day. Look at that spin. Up fake, up and down, no call. Off the glass, again another rebound by Carlins. 5:51 left to go, 5 minutes. Tommy Griffin counted. Ooh. Gets his own board, amazing. Tommy Griffin has been one of the better players. Jackson Pyman says, I'm even better. Hits a 3 and ties it up with 4:50 left to go in the first quarter as Mercado brings the ball up with intense pressure by Julian Goodrich. Ethan Day loses it out of bounds, who had a forgettable game last year here, but made up for it at Revere last year with some huge threes. That was senior night, and however, Somerville did sweep them last year, so that's something that Coach Antonelli has ahead of himself to try to get their second win this year. They're currently 1-6. Revere is 3-5. Oh, another steal for Lung, all the way in for 2. Uses his strong hand, and they take the lead 7-6. 4:27 left to go in the first quarter as Julian brings the ball up, has not looked to score yet. First time out, we'll go over some of the dignitaries that were here to be a part of this wonderful event. 5-second call, but no. Timeout Somerville. Before would have been a 5-second call. So this great night for Jerry Knight, the first ever Ring of Honor for Somerville High School. Members in attendance, his family, as you saw earlier. David, Mary, his son Adam, who used to be here, was one of the leaders of running these events for this, for all athletics. Adam Knight, and you'll never forget all the work he did all those years. So thank you, Adam Knight. As we mentioned, you have a lot of members from all the places that Jerry Knight frequents. Mr. Philpott is here representing Casey's, as Jerry spoke about all his favorite places where he meets his friends, where he talks to. Remember, and it's all about remembering with him. You have the entire Foster sisters here, former players. You have Coach Rich Malilla, who was a player for him, took over as head coach. Did not take over as AD, as Jerry Knight surpassed that. But you got to remember, Bob Mello and Richie Malillo, as Richie Malillo stated, two of the only players to have coached for him as his boss, as athletic director, and played under him. An incredible showing for Jerry Knight, and we'll go through some more of the famous people here, as well as Tony Caleri, former Human Resource Director, who was here supporting the former central office. Basket does not count. Going to the line, Jacob for two, as foul is on 22. That is on Berry, his second, so he'll be coming out of the game. Number 14 is about to check in. Sadly, I don't have him on my roster, so I'll have to go over at halftime to double check things. Troy Royks is coming into the game for his action at home. Number 14 is into the game for for Revere. They have a lot of players that have been not in uniform recently, so they are working hard without steal. Julian! They're working hard with players playing out of position more minutes than they usually do. So give Revere a little credit there for playing with a bunch of players who have either been under the weather or injured. Coming off a victory last night at Chelmsford, so back-to-back. On top of all, they have to play a back-to-back, so they get a very kind schedule Somerville gets, as the Celtics do with the NBA. Bob Mello about to walk in front of me. Rebound by Jackson Pyman. That's 2 rebounds. 3:31 left to go in the first quarter. Passes over to Underwood. Ethan Day with a carry, no call. Even worse carry on the recovery, all the way in for 2. 5 points for Ethan Day as they go up by 4. Leary, a very active coach on the sideline. And it's nice to see Tony Caleri here, whose son, Charlie Caleri, was a former head coach of Revere. Julian shuffles through to the basket. As I mentioned during the celebration, Tony Caleri, whose son, Charlie Caleri, is a former head coach of Revere back in the 2000s. So he led that team to some great wins over the years. So he's representing Revere for Charlie. Ethan Day is representing Revere for himself, as he now has 7. 2:36 left to go in the first quarter. At the end of the first quarter, I will go over some of the records of Jerry Knight. Lauren Murphy Jr. is here as well, whose father, Mr. Murph. Julian all the way for 2, no foul. Rebound, Royks hits the ground. Rebound goes out to Underwood, but no. Rebound to Jackson Pyman. Offensive board all the way for 2. There's number 12, Mayorga. Now it's a 13-7 lead. Lauren Murphy, senior. Coach Mr. Murph was part of the basketball team program for years and decades. Many players succeeded. Turnover, Tommy Griffin. Many of these players remember Mr. Murph more than anything, and that's why Lauren Murphy Jr. is here. to represent this thing. Adam Knight is just an incredible vision of seeing Adam Knight here. People will remember everything he used to do for this athletic program, helping out his father all those years. It was Adam Knight who first came up with the idea for the podium and the scores table with the logo and the lit up light bulbs. Ethan Day misses. So it's all these little things to remember that helped out Jerry Knight to succeed this athletic program. And it was Adam Knight who came up with that concept of what you see at half court now. And I'll tell a funny story about that later on in the game. Travel, please! Turnover by number 14, and I'll get his name at halftime as I go visit with Elizabeth McEwing, who I know will have no errors at all, so I got to go to her scorebook to get this. As they mentioned during turn, Jerry Knight graduated from Somerville High School, went to UMass, played there 1 year, and then went to Northeastern where he succeeded. I'll go over some of his records during one of the dead balls. Julian for three. Push off on Carlin's, no call. And it's great to have a PA announcer so he can tell me who's scoring. Foul will be on number 12, Mayorga. That's his first as he tries to take the charge, as Carlins will go to the line for two, and Carlins has been an exceptional free throw shooter. Number 5, Reed is into the game as well, along with Royks. Out is Tommy Griffin. Out is Jackson Pyman as well. We will go in order of progression of what you were, Jerry Knight, as a player first at the end of this quarter. Ethan Day in the paint, gets his own board, foul, no call, basket counts. Ethan Day wants revenge of what happened to him last year in this gym. Just staying strong there, keeping the ball above his head. Nobody can stop him in the low block as Charles is going to come into the game. Next dead ball, Dobre.
What am I going to use it for?
Ethan Day looking to complete the three-point play. Mark Kerwin there talking to Jerry Knight, who are very close. Mark Kerwin, a lot of the games were operated by Mark Kerwin as well. As back then, Jerry Knight did not have an assistant athletic director. Out of bounds, goes the wrong way is Reed, as Jacob faked one way and Reed went the other way. Jackson Pyman coming in for Jacob, who just needs a breather. This gives him an extra couple of minutes. Ethan Day so far has been exceptional, as he's been all season for Revere. Ethan Day last night, 21 points against Chelmsford and 5 boards and 4 assists. He's bringing the ball up himself. He's going to take one shot. At the buzzer, count it! Ricardo for 3 at the buzzer. And these guys are getting out revenge for getting swept last year by Somerville. Speaking of revenge, Jerry Knight, his coaching records, which this was compiled by the late John Cusolito, who was a dear friend of my father, Dr. Albert F. Argenziano, and they compiled a lot of these stats together, but this was John Cusolito who came up with these stats. Jerry Knight, head coach from the 72-73 season to the 84-85 season. Now, lady, it's hard to compare these records to other people. League record, that's in the Greater Boston League, 78% winning percentage, 150-42. Non-league, 67% winning percentage, 40-20. Now, these are his total records as a coach. Subtotal 190-62. That's a 75% winning percentage for Jerry Knight. Tech tournament, Jerry, 500, 12-12. But overall, as a head coach for Somerville High School, this is what John Cusolito has, so I will say it is without error. This is the numbers that were not stated during the ceremony. so I will correct it. John Cosolito's numbers have Jerry Knight at 202 and 74. A 73% winning percentage for head coach Jerry Knight from 72, 73 to 84, 85. 3 league championships for Jerry Knight, and that's just what he accomplished as a head coach. We'll talk about what he did as a player next. But Ethan Day is going to say, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do as a player. Ball out of bounds. Little tip goes off Dobre out of bounds, and it will be Somerville's ball with 7:48 to go. Same start, same lineup that was in the game to end the quarter. A little chilly in here, Joe. Running Salem. If they run it through effectively, Paul Garrity is here with a big smile on his face. If you run it through effectively, you will get a wide open layup. That was a play that was created by the basketball brilliance, the mind of Paul the Mez Garrity. 21 games over 500, Paul Garrity, who coached from the 2003-04 season to the 2007-08 season. Overdue. Julian all the way in for 2 off the glass, too low. Ethan Day with the board. All the way in, Dobre! Finishes strong, but a foul by number 5, Isaiah. Coming into the game is Colin Bourne, who's been exceptional this season. His brother, Ian Bourne, is right behind me. An all-star pitcher, all-scholastic pitcher in his own right, who is just an exceptional athlete and will be playing at the college level. He's here on winter break, so give him a hug if you see him. Julian in the paint is Carlins. Over the back, Ethan Day, no call. Colin Bourne with the board. Julian way off. With that, was that Julian? Ethan Day in the paint, there's no stopping him. Oh! Tommy Griffin hits the deck. But somehow Carlins winds up with the board. Julian Goodrich with 4 points. Thank you, Joe. Coming back into the game is Long, who's just been even more impressive this year. Long had 25 points at Chelsea. Ethan Day, 25. Mercado, 17. Again, as I mentioned, this team has played 8 straight games on the road. Amazingly, road team success over the break in the GBL schedule. Oh, Ethan. Colin Bourne not paying attention. He was running a different play in his head as we have 6:11 left to go in the first half. The coaching staff very upset about that play as they were running effectively plays. Next timeout, I will go over what Jerry Knight did as a player, and it's just an amazing amount of points. And what Somerville people will say, I'll talk about that during the next timeout, as Ethan Day is going to score 1,000 points in his own right. Actually, Ethan Day's probably already scored 1,000 points. All the way in for 2, misses again. Julian Bourne with the rebound. A little lackadaisical. Miller. Moore. Board. No foul. Over the back. Carlins, no call. Rebound by number 14. That's 2 boards. Basket does not count by number 33. Dobre, who's going to go to the line for 2. Somerville showing exceptional athleticism and power in the low block, rebounding in the paint. That's Reed, okay? Carlins and Danny Schmidt all battling, along with Colin Bourne, all battling in the paint. 1 for 1 is Revere from the line. Practice makes perfect at the line as concentration, taking that extra breath. It's Revere is 2 for 2 from the free throw line today. Playing in Chelmsford last night, if you watched that game on YouTube, it looked like a surveillance camera. 6 rebound all the way. Tommy Griffin sprained his ankle. That hurts. He might have to come out. The speed got ahead of him as we have Gabby Vieira looking sternly at Tommy because she knows she's right in the head of all these players. 20-9 lead. Running the weave once again. Here comes Ethan Day. There's no stopping him. They're gonna go in the paint all the way for 2. Fade away, push off. Carlins with another rebound. That's 7. Taking the charge, but they will call a blocking foul on number 4. So it is Revere that is racking up the fouls. So 1 foul on Long, 1 foul on Mayorga, 2 on Berry. 4:53 left to go in the first half. Some people say Julian should take a deep breath. Behind me, I need a deep breath. All the way for 2. As they say, Jacob has all the moves. However, they're not going in tonight for him. Who has 2 free throws. 29 lead for David Leary and his Revere Patriots, who are coming in with a 3-5 record. Another game. Their next home game will not be till the 16th of January against Lynn Classical. Last year we lost Leone and Luke Ellis. Actually it's 9 years for Leary. Ethan Day says that could have been my 9th rebound. All the way and he's open! Why'd you come on and set the screen? Just look for him, screener roll. Going back to the line is Carlins.
Revere foul number 4.
Carlins makes it 2. Makes 1. Travel, turnover. Thanks especially tonight to the vision of your athletic department. Stan Vieira is your head athletic director. Indira Ivora, assistant athletic director. And your athletic staff, training staff, Michelle Kelly and Gabby Vieira. Thank them for what they did tonight to put this wonderful program together. But Carlin says I'm going to be having even a better program. 8 rebounds, actually 9. As I mentioned, 9th year for David Leary. 20-12. Only 1 point scored in this quarter for Revere with 3:28 left to go. So Somerville, incredible defense this quarter. And look at this lineup that you have in there. Athleticism and defensive stances all around. Ethan Day's going to throw it in the backcourt. Julian could have stole that. Mercado, who is a great matchup for Julian. Mercado is what being a point guard is all about. He has led this Revere Patriots team for the last 3 years as their point guard. Day passes it off to basket, does not count, by number 33 Dobre, who's going to go back to the line for 2. So they're living at the line. Foul will be on Jacob Underwood. And amazingly, that's only their 2nd team foul. Going to the line for 2 is Dobre. Stay tuned for the next time out, as I will go over impressive scoring records by Jerry Knight, who Coach Melillo in his speech said one of these records stood in the Tech tournament for 25 years. Tech tournament sadly no longer exists. As they mentioned, for those of you who say, no way, that's not possible, there are photos of 13,909 of Somerville fans tearing up newspapers into shreds and using it as confetti. And then They will march all the way back home, down from the Garden, chanting SOMERVILE as they got their tournament victories in the Tech tournament. Big rebound. But they're wide open again for shots. All the way McCardle. Gonna face up jump shot for Dobre. Gets the board. Another rebound. Falls to the ground is number 31, Peter. Desaline fouls on Tommy. Face-up shot not taken by Dobre. Finger roll into the paint, does not make it. Julian somehow comes away with it. All the way for two, misses, but Reed gets the ball. Julian crossover, Jackson Pyman open the top of the key. Tommy Griffin makes it easier for himself. Rebound to number 30. These guys are all rebounding you like nothing. Is Desaline. Fade away, Ethan Day. Rebound to Jackson Pyman. All the way for two is Julian. Finger roll. Julian with 6 as they cut it to a 21-14 lead as Ethan Day can't get anything done now with Reed guarding him. One of the better defenders on this roster for Somerville. Ethan Day with Reed closely guarding him. 1:36 left to go. Mayorga. Face up 3. Off again, another rebound for Carlins. I'm running out of room. 10 rebounds for Carlins in the first half. Jackson Pyman says, I'm going to stick it. McCardle with the board. Ethan Day all the way through, count it. 12 points for Ethan Day as we have 1 minute to go in the first half. Salem. Oh, there it is. There's your wide open layup. If you just go for it, be patient. Reed gets fouled, no call. But Mayorga's going to cover him. No, he's leaning back on Carlins because he knows he's going to box him out. 11 seconds on the shot clock. Julian, face up 3. Reed. Off the glass, McCardle with the board. 3 rebounds for McCardle. Ethan Day. McCardle, and Mayorga. Another rebound by Julian. All the way it is Reed. Basket will count. (23-16), one shot. Jacob will not get in. Somerville coaching staff wanted a foul. Ethan Day for 3. And at the end of the first half, 23-16 lead for the Revere Patriots. You're watching Somerville High School boys varsity basketball on Somerville Ed TV. Going over the scores. At halftime, I got a chance to talk to Matt Vogel, your PA announcer. I thanked him profusely for pleading for years and years and years to get a PA announcer. I said, just walk up to the mic, anybody will let you do it. And he's not just anybody. He is the highest level you can possibly find. So thank you, Matt Vogel, for doing the PA. Your scoring leaders: 2 points for Jacob, 3 for Jackson Pyman, 3 for Carlins, and leading the way Julian with 6 and Reed with 2. For Revere, 2 for Lung, 3 for McCardle, 4 for Mayorga, and leading the way Ethan Day with 12, and Dobre has 2 as well. Foul trouble, 2 for Berry, 2 for Lung. Somerville not in foul trouble, but what the first half does say, besides Ethan Day's scoring, is 10 rebounds for Carlins. Exceptional. Exceptional play for Carlins. playing out of position today, playing more minutes than he usually does. Of course, because we're missing Danny Schmidt tonight, who's in street clothes, next to Matty O'Donnell at the end of the bench. Next time out, we will talk about Jerry Knight and what he did as a player and a scorer. Your officials, of course, Brian Allison and Dave Galeazzi, doing exceptional work tonight, calling this game right down the middle. Nothing happening so far offensively for Somerville, as we have bottles jiggling somewhere, but Tommy Griffin says, I'm making it happen. Skies in his read for the jump. Possession arrow heading towards Revere's way. Long with the ball. Tommy Griffin playing incredible defense all along. No signs of any possible knee or ankle injury. The O'Keefe family here, part of the athletic department as well for years of health and physical education. Mr. O'Keefe here before the game came in, talked to me and thanked for being here for Jerry Knight, along with Mr. Philpott. Foul will be on Carlins. That's his first team's first of the third. Jacob Underwood. Roach is going over to speak to the coaching staff. Going to line his Lung for 2. Who's got the bottles back here? Can we get those out of here? You know, one time I had a jiggling in my tire, Joe, and I brought it to my mechanic, and he said, I thought you had some milk bottles in your back seat. So, think about it like that. Is the next time you go to a mechanic. I end up having a broken axle. Reed, top of the key. Travel, no call. Jacob wants the ball in the low block. Tommy Griffin, top of the key. Top of the... Oh, he's open again. Reed in the paint, but they're not finding him. Triple teamed is Julian. Knocked to the ground. And they say it's a jump ball. However, the ball was before. Great officiating by Brian Allison as Mayorga held the ball. He made the call as Mayorga rolled out of bounds, but the call was made before that. Some officials may have not have caught that. Coach Antonelli calling out 7. And that's seconds, not play. Rebound to number 22, Berry, who has 3. Crossover, killer crossover by Lung, but it's another rebound by Carlins. I'm running out of room. Speaking of running out of room, is Tommy Griffin. He gets stopped by a double team as he tries to go to the corner. Jacob over to Julian for 3. Count it. Julian with 9 as they cut it to a 5-point lead. Former player David Goodrich here as usual, but he's one of the many that can say I played for Jerry Knight. Paul Garrity cannot say that because Paul Garrity went to Menon. That's also where Kevin Scott went, my announcing partner. Paul Garrity, also a star player at Tufts University. They're saying we got a hook in the paint. Foul will be on number 10. That's Gio. Rebound again, Carlins. All the way for 2. Rebound and Carlins, oh, out of bounds. So that foul. It's great to see the projector out before the game. You will see at the end of this game, once it's put together, you will see with music behind it, or over it, as some people say in the editing world, the tribute to Jerry Knight, and we will roll that before our credits. Running Salem this entire game. Julian, face up, count it. He's got 11. And they cut it to within 3 as Revere just has not been able to score. Since the first quarter of scoring 19 points, they've only scored 5. And you've shut down Ethan Day. Gets his own board. Count it, Ethan Day. He's got 14. You know eventually you can only shut him down. As they used to say, you can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. As he's had over 20 points in many games, 25 against Chelsea. Turnover. And Mayorga could have been called for a turnover there. But Day says, I'm not going to be called for a turn. 3. Rebound to Jacob. That's 3. All the way to Jacob, who's got to the line now 4 times. Jerry Knight played at Northeastern University from the 63-64 season for 3 years, all the way to 64, 65, 66. Jerry Knight played with a great Rick Weitzman, who played for the Boston Celtics. He also played with a coaching rival later on, Mike Jarvis. Mike Jarvis played for Northeastern, and Mike Jarvis, also a good friend of Dr. Stephen Jenkins, when they were at Cambridge Ridge and Latin together. Jacob looking to get 1. Jacob's got 3. And he cuts it to 4. Mercado, who is just an incredible point guard. Mark Kerwin coming in with a load of goodies for after the game. Floater in the paint. Another rebound by Carlins. That's 13. David Leary calling out defensive plays to stop Julian. Reed, up fake, gets fouled. Yes, great call by Mr. Galizzi. Foul beyond Mercado, I would say. Baseline, inbound. Jacob, Tommy Griffin comes across. Bounce pass into Reed. Gets lost. But Julian, great spin. Reed with the offensive board. That's 3 offensive boards. Almost a turnover there. Julian resets with 3:30 left to go. Gets fouled in the head. Both officials make the call. Galizzi and Allison as he's driving to the paint. Fouls on 0, Mercado. So at halftime, as you can see, the coaching staff has solved the defensive prowess by Mercado against Julian, as Julian looks to be just so much fresh after this. Next time out, I will go over Jerry Knight's scoring at Somerville High School. Tommy Griffin. Rebound to Mayorga. Ethan Day with a spin in the paint. He'll go to the line for 2. Ethan Day now with 14 points. 1 for 1 from the free throw line, finishing that 3-point play. He is looking to extend this lead.
Somerville foul number 5, Lamari Reed.
Reed, that's 1. Jerry Knight succeeded Walter Perry, who coached from 66, 67 to 71, 72. Walter Perry even had a more impressive winning percentage, was 78 and 10, 89% winning percentage in the league. Imagine that, only lost 10 games. So, 28-22 lead. Let's go to what Jerry Knight did as a player. Now, many people will say back in Somerville, you only have one male 1,000-point scorer for so long. That's how great Ronnie Perry was. Jerry Knight scored 900 points. But remember, in Somerville, the teams were so deep back then, you really only got a chance to play 2 years. Jerry Knight, this is all in the 60-61 season, okay? In order, North Quincy, 30 points. Quincy, 31. Weymouth, 33. Revere, 33. Lowell, 31. Medford, 31. Now, in the Tech tournament, against Ringe Tech, which was Cambridge. Now, Ringe Tech back then, 35 points, which was the record, as Coach Malone talked about. And his last game, 34 points against New Bedford. So that is 8 straight games at the end of his senior year, not 8 straight, but 8 30-plus point scoring for Jerry Knight, 8 times scoring 30 points in just the 60-61 season alone. Somerville player nowadays scores 30 points, you want to throw a parade for him. Jerry Knight had a parade thrown every night for him, and that was just him singing because he was a member of the Glee Club as well. Next, I will go over what he did at Northeastern University. Jackson Pyman has been out this quarter. Look to see him get back. Follow McCardle. Bumps him, no call. Tommy Griffin. Julian. Lost my blue pen. Oh, we calling a kick. The ball was already in McCardle's hand. Coach Malolo, who showed up on this court in the old gym in 1968, and I said to him, the best line I heard in his speech was, there are only 2 players that can say they played and coached for Jerry Knight. And that's Bob Mello and Coach Malolo. Tommy Griffin could have easily started for Jerry Knight in those days. Cuts it to 3. Ethan Day. Are these guys gonna box out Carlins once? 14 rebounds for Carlins. Julian, sweeping left-handed hook. Cuts it to 1. As Revere has no answers, but it will be a foul on Carlins. Their best offense so far has been driving to the paint and getting to the line. 33 Dobre, who's 2 for 4.
Somerville foul for 34, Carlins Dennis.
So Carlins, that should be 2. Checking into the game is Kenyatte, who is number 14. I didn't have his name to start the half, or the game, as they say. Special thanks also to George Wood, who at the time Educational Channel 15 was not televising any games, and Jerry Knight and George Wood talked, and that's the start of what you see now at home, which is expanded to YouTube and streaming. It was the vision of George Wood and Jerry Knight to get all of these athletics covered. Not only covered, but seen by many. Jerry Knight used to argue that the problem is, if you put the games on TV, you're gonna hurt my gait. But people have shown that it's 50-50. Especially you, Johansson. For 3, Tommy Griffin. Count it! 6 points for Griffin as they tie it up at 30. Coach Antonelli in the Mike Boddicker stance. Ethan Day says, you're not going to tie me up that long. He goes 32 points now for Revere. 18 for Ethan Day. That's all you got to do is give the ball to Ethan Day, and you can't win. .58 seconds left to go. Carlins. Rebound to 14. And on top of it all, you foul him. No, tied up. Tied up by Tommy Griffin. You know, if any of you at home want to see what it means to play hard, just take a look at Tommy Griffin. Into the game is number 11, Alex DeCruz, who's an exceptional athlete. And you'll see they're going to put him right on Lung to try to keep him quiet for the rest of the quarter. All the way in for two is Dobray with the finger roll. Going to sign him up on our team. 4-point lead now for Revere at the end of the quarter. Oh, Mercado hits the deck. It's coming my way. Defensive stance by Somerville by DeCruz, but you're not going to get Mercado rattled. In now is that's Gabe into the game, giving Carlins a rest. There's no stopping Ethan Day with 15 seconds to go. Who's right up on him? Jackson Pyman. Ethan Day face up. Jackson gets fouled by Gabe. At the buzzer, almost.
In the third quarter, the score was Revere 34.
So in the 3 years that Jerry Knight played at Northeastern University, his first year, only averaged 2.8 points per game. But if anybody knows Jerry Knight, determination, he played 23 games that season, shot 76% from the free throw line, and scored a total of 65 points. Where he really started to blossom was his next year, where he scored 243 points in 26 games, shot 44% from the field, 72% from three-point. Now remember, back then, no three-point line. If they'd run back all the tapes, it'd be very interesting. You'd be able to account for all the three-pointers that he would have scored. It'd be an incredible undertaking to go through the game tape to be able to do that. But that'd be something, hopefully someday somebody will do. He averaged 5 rebounds a game in his senior year. 30 games, 20 games, averaged 48% from field goal percentage, a total of 11 points per game. Along with Rick Weitzman, they roam the courts of Northeastern University. Mr. Philpott is leaving. Thank you for everything you always do. Actually, he's not leaving. He's going up to the next row right behind me. So Jerry Knight, exceptional career at Northeastern University. Those were his stats. The teams those years: 11-9, 17-8, and 18-8. 17-8 his first year. His last year, 11-9, and 18-8 his junior year. So that's Jerry Knight's success at Northeastern University. We'll go over a couple more Jerry Knight things as we go to the fourth quarter. Julian open for three. Tommy Griffin with the board. Jackson Pyman gets some space. Makes it harder. Blocked by number 14, Kenyante. And right there, everybody watching, Jacob had a wide open three. He made it harder for himself as he up fake and drove to the basket, and the defense collapsed on him. Jerry Knight, a Traveler Herald All-Scholastic All-American, as well as the Herald Traveler, which those were mini papers back in the day. Started playing basketball at St. Catherine's, as many of these Somervillians did back in that day, where the CYOs roamed the countryside. Rebound by Jacob Pyman. All the way in. Jacob with a bounce pass. Actually, Julian a bounce pass to Jackson Pyman. He's got 5 as they cut it to 2. Ethan Day just cool and calm as Jackson Pyman is guarding him. 6 minutes to go in this game. Turnover, Ethan Day. Jacob bounce pass to Tommy. Rebound by number 33, Dobre, who has 3. Ball is loose. Ricardo. Ethan Day is wide open in the corner. He wants it. Oh, what a reverse. Rebound by Cañante. But then Jaime gets the board. No, waved off travel. Great call by your official, Brian Allison, with 6:20 left to go in a 2-point lead for Somerville. Actually, for Revere. Referees Allison and Galizzi asked me before the game, is this the crowd for a normal Friday night in Somerville? And I said, of course. Ethan Day, Ricardo. Over to Long. Ethan Day gets fouled by Julian. Completely hit him in the head. That's his second. Ethan Day going to line for 2, and Ethan Day is 3 for 3 from the free throw line so far today. Ethan Day pulls up his shirt during the free throw. All the seats are gone from the Ring of Honor. Missing from this team from last year, Andrew and Luke. Ethan Day scored 25 against Chelsea, 25 for Lung. Now, Tommy Griffin scored 21 against Wilmington. Career high for Tommy Griffin. Nobody could stop him on the Wilmington roster as Tommy Griffin scored 21 points in Wilmington this past weekend, the first weekend of January in the year 2025. Jacob, Tommy, all the way in wide open face-up. Rebound to Dobre, ripped away by Reed. He's double-teamed. Timeout, Somerville. David Leary has not taken a timeout yet. Now, when you think about Jerry Knight as well as an athletic director, as they mentioned, what he developed, the number one thing that nobody can take away from Jerry Knight as an athletic director. You can talk about increasing the sports. You can talk about increasing to sports that some will never even thought about. For women, for girls athletics, middle school athletics. The number one thing Jerry Knight did, at one point, every sport that was represented as an active sport for Somerville, at the end of the year, there was the Highlander Awards night. Every sport, at every level, all across the varsity sports, there was a scholarship named, handed out that night. And that's one of Jerry Knight's, to me, one of his greatest accomplishments was you went out there and worked and got the support from former alums, memorial awards, book awards, but every sport, from girls basketball to boys basketball, which were named after family members in my family, to swimming, to football, to track. Every one of those sports had a scholarship named after it under Jerry Knight. Oh, Jacob runs the play, perfection, out of the timeout. Cuts it to 1 with 5 minutes to go. Ethan Day needs to take over. 5:17 left to go. Ricardo, guarded by Julian, over to Lung. Lung has been an incredible scorer. Screen and roll, foul. Leans in, foul is on the floor as Carlins elevates. If he didn't elevate on the up fake, it would not have been a foul. Cañante with an exceptional play, use of his body. Almost a turnover. Ricardo gets fouled by Julian. Julian pushes him into the scores table. Definitely a foul, guys, please. Crashed right into him and knocked him in the scores table. Memories of what happened to Steve Nash at one point. Galizzi with the call, great call. Foul on Julian, that's 3. Ricardo hits the scores table. Say let him play, you can't let that happen. You could have easily gotten hurt. Travel, no call by Dobre. Kenyante. Over to Ethan Day. Ricardo, jump shot. Low, rebound, Julian. Turnover, let it go. No, yeah, Somerville's ball. 4:32 left to go in the game, 1 point lead. Very low scoring. Tommy Griffin looked for Somerville to run another set play. Coming out of the baseline out of bounds. Checking back in the game soon is Berry, who's been out for a long time. Reed wants a 3. He's not open. Ricardo rotates there. Griffin in the paint to Jacob. Now reset. Reed wants a 3. Ricardo is right there up on him. Shot clock is down. Julian for deep. Rebound to Dobre. Rips it away. All the way to Ethan Day with the charge. Offensive foul on Ethan Day. As Reed had possession, Ethan Day hit him with his shoulder. Ethan Day is questioning Galizzi to ask him, what did I do wrong? And they're saying you hit him with your right shoulder. You initiated the contact. Here comes Berry into the game for Kenyante. 4 minutes left to go. Maintaining the 1 point lead so far is the Revere Patriots. Triangle defense is what Revere has been asked to run by Mr. Leary. Reed wants a 3. Up fake drive. Baseline cut off. Julian for 3. Count it. As they take the lead. 12. Violation on the inbound for Ethan Day and Ricardo as Somerville takes the lead by 2 on that 3. 16 points for Julian, and David Leary wants his first time out as his team has come unraveled. So everybody talks about Jerry Knight as the coach. Now, Jerry Knight, as they mentioned, he had tryouts of 150 to over 200 players in that small gym, which is currently your auditorium. He used to have to cut players within the first week. First couple of days, you'd have to send some players home. And that just shows what a great player Ronnie Perry was all those years playing prior to Jerry Knight in 1950, 49 season. But Ronnie Perry scored 1,154 points, and being that scorer, to have that plenty of points at his, that's how special of a player he is. The McEwens there whispering to each other at the scores table. Don't know what that was all about. So, what you want to say to Jerry Knight as a coach? Jerry Knight was able to bring all sorts of level of players. The best thing he did at the end of the day, brought everybody up to sing the Highlander school song. You got the gorgeous red, the Spurs ahead, fair play and all that we do is for the trueness of the blue. He sang that song. Now any student at Somerville High School, from when Jerry Knight was a player that grew up in Somerville to anybody who's immigrated to the city now, that's the one thing you learn. And you sing the school song. And look, and everybody sang along with him. That was an incredible moment for Jerry Knight. Jacob making it even more incredible in the low block. Ricardo saying, I'm not going to get you now, as Coach Antonelli calls a timeout. So Coach Antonelli, Somerville has 2 timeouts left. David Leary and Revere has 4. So, as they mentioned during the speech, Jerry Knight, it was great to see Janet Flynn here. She was a former gym teacher, physical education teacher for Jerry Knight, along with Mark Kerwin, along with all the teachers, Barbara Whittle, everybody who were gym teachers in Somerville for Jerry Knight. So you're able to either coach under him, as Mark Kerwin did. You're able to also be a part of Jerry Knight's life as friends, as you built friendships through all this time. All these people here were not here because they were told to come. They were not given a phone call and said, could you please come? They heard about it and they came. People came who have just had surgery. People came who are not feeling well right now. They came here to support, and what Jerry Knight did for Somerville, bringing in sports like wrestling, bringing in more sports like building to get to lacrosse, building to get to all the volleyball levels. And remember, with Jerry Knight, it wasn't just varsity sports. It was a middle school feeding program all the way up freshman JV varsity. Out of the timeout, turnover for Jacob. Mercado gets the ball as they are down by 2. Ethan Day says, you're not going to be down by 2 much longer, as I give the ball to Lung. Travel. And you've completely shut Lung down. Another travel, no call. Dubray going to the line, who is 4 for 6 from the line. He is going to try to tie up the game. Couple of missed travels there on that possession, but at this stage of the game with 3:14 left to go, they say they will let those go. Dubray misses. The best he can do is cut it to 1. Air balls, side out of bounds. Pressure is on Revere. Also, remember, they played last night a very competitive game on January 10th. On January 9th against at Chelmsford. So you travel to Chelmsford. Jacob doesn't shoot the 3 again. Had it wide open. Tired legs for Revere. Rebound by Berry. That's 4. Oh boy, open for 2. Nobody saw Lung get back as they tie it up. But the key for Somerville is 19 points in the first quarter. They only have 37 so far, Revere, so their defense has really shut them down. Push. Being held as Lung is holding Tommy Griffin. Basically pulling him out with the hook. And your JV coach, lead assistant Ian Colmack, is saying, what was that? Oh, Reed bounces off his leg. Coming out of the timeout, 2 straight turnovers for Somerville. The Somerville staff might consider another timeout with 2:21 left to go in the game. Long, Tommy Griffin right up on him. Ethan Day breaks away. Top of the key up fake all the way for 2. Ethan Day scores. That's his patented move as Ethan Day now takes the lead by 2 for Revere Patriots. Time out for, Somerville calls a timeout as they were going. Now there's only 1 timeout left. So now remember, Jerry Knight as athletic director, Coach Malillo, the longevity of the coaches. Coach Malillo from 85-86 to 2002-2003. Then Paul Garrity took over from 2003-2004, and since then in the 08-09 season has been Mark Antelli. But after that is what Jerry Knight brought together for basketball program. Coach Antelli unfortunately never got to coach under Jerry Knight, but he got to be a player under Jerry Knight's athletic director. I know that's something Mark Antelli wears proud on his chest and in his heart, because his brother also played for this program. So those are the 2. The Antelli brothers got to play for this program as well. So the thing you got to remember also about Jerry Knight is his last year as athletic director. The girls varsity team captain and all scholastic is in attendance today. Alyssa Mackey currently goes by a different name because she's married. She was the leading scorer, leading Somerville to the Division I North final game against Lowell, and Jerry Knight was honored at half court by the MIAA prior to that game for his excellence as an athletic director and retiring at the end of his final basketball season as an athletic director. So those are the kinds of honors that you remember for the rest of your life but those honors are not enough for Tommy Griffin. Rebound by Dobre. (39-37) lead with 1:32 left. Lung. It's been the exceptional play by Lung and Mercado tonight. Ethan Day has been even better. But he can't do anything against the defense of Jackson Pyman. Look, he has to hand it off. Jackson Pyman has been an exceptional defender tonight. Oh! He catches out of bounds. Is just bad luck there by Jacob, who was playing strong defense against Dobre, flying to the basket, hit it out of bounds. He was standing out of bounds, so just bad luck right there. As Ethan Day, watch out for Ethan Day to come off a screen on the opposite side in front of the rear bench for a three. Jackson Pyman with the steal, and it's fouled by Mercado. Only one team foul. Throws it high to the rafters. Could be a delay of game. Big smile on his face. Referee Galizzi. And that's one thing I guarantee you that no other player will attempt to do, to throw it that high, because some refs might have called that a delay of game. 1 minute to go, Somerville down by 2. Jackson Pyman is bringing the ball up. Tipped away by Dobre. Mr. Philpott behind me, a great official, a great player. He tapped that ball back to the official, Galizzi. Reed back into the game. Out is Jackson Pyman. I would keep Jackson Pyman in. He's playing incredible defense on Ethan Day. 56 seconds to go. This game has been under control by all ends. Julian, top of the key. Lung guarding him. Screen. Julian, three! As they take the lead by 1 with 40 seconds to go. Larry letting him play, not calling a timeout. Long on Tommy Griffin. No, he calls a timeout. Jerry Knight, as a lot of people remember, this is a time when you get him to be, most people know him not as a superstar athlete, not as a superstar coach, Hall of Fame levels of his talent, but they know him as a jokester. No matter what, Jerry Knight will throw a joke at you. As you can see, during his beginning of his speech, he read a bunch of notes that were handed to him. They were all part of little jokes. He was also the prom king in high school, part of the Glee Club, member of that. So that just shows you his singing prowess, known to sing all Christmas carols, but really Jerry Knight has been known as the best jokester around. Will either throw a joke at you or throw some jokes at you. He did a lot of jokes to me. Showing a sense of humor, as I mentioned before, Adam Knight was the spearhead of having the idea of that scores table in the podium. Back earlier during that season, in the 2000 season, the lights weren't the same in this gym. They were very dim. Our cameras for Educational Channel 15 then had really weak irises, so if the lights were on that way, you would pan left and right, and it would completely go dark. So I said, Adam, we gotta do something about the lights. He said, just disconnect the light bulb. My father's never gonna know. Long, out of the timeout. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Long with Tommy Griffin guarding him. Will Leary calling another timeout as the offense is stagnant. Long, Berry in the paint, off the glass. Berry, no. Rebound, Julian. Foul on Mercado. Julian gets the board. Foul is on Mercado, and Julian can ice it now as Mercado fouls out. As they battle for the board. Give a credit to Somerville. At the end of one, it was 19-7. Now, Somerville has been also extremely lucky that this team is playing on the back-to-back night and has been on the road now for 8 straight games. As you can see, the tired legs are starting to hit Revere. But give credit to Somerville as they gave up 19 points in the first quarter, have only given up 20 more. Tommy Griffin Foul will be on Lung. And they have to foul again because there's only 3 team fouls. 13.8. Lung now has 3. If Somerville is smart and they inbound the ball and get fouled and make their free throws, the best they can have is a 3-point lead with 1 possession left for Revere. And they've been very intelligent getting the ball to Julian each inbound. Foul is on number 12, Mayorga, his second. Stay tuned for the end of the game. When this is put together, you will see the video that was shown on the big screen in front of us during the performance, and that will lead into the credits for tonight's game as Julian looks for the 2 free throws. Enough timeouts left for Leary to be able to call. 12 seconds left. Julian makes both. Will Leary play it out, or will he take a timeout? Timeout. And this is all the Somerville coaching staff wanted. For a night when you're honoring the Ring of Honor, showing what it takes to be an athlete on this school, in this program, and part of this building. All the coaching staff wanted was a game like this. So everybody here who are part of this program years ago can see that although the record is 1-6, Somerville basketball is alive and well. Resetting right now. 42-39 lead for Somerville. It's going to be 1 shot. Where is it going? Is it going to Ethan Day for 3? Is it going to Lung for 3? Is it going to Mayorga? You've held their scorers who have scored double figures in points. Lung has 5 points. Mayorga has 4. Dobre is your other leading scorer. The only other person that scored. Mercado has 3. Somerville's defense has been exceptional, keeping these 20-point scorers for the 3rd game in a row against Revere. Adding up to these 2 seasons, Somerville has kept their leading scorers well under their average, and that's a huge credit to the game plan of what Somerville has put together. Now, the best Revere can do is tie it, unless you foul a player shooting a 3. Ethan Day with 6 seconds for 3. Off the glass, Ethan Day! And there should be time left on the clock. That is a superstar for you. Ethan Day hits a 3 at the buzzer, and will this wake up? Somerville calls a timeout, which they have 1 left, and they're giving them 1.2. They're gonna have to go the length of the court. What to credit the night. What could be the best thing to do to credit the night, as you could have a overtime in period 4, and Ethan Day, I thought he might have been over the line, but he did a little step back off the glass, left corner of the square. Ethan Day, incredible face up, nothing more you could do if you were Somerville. Somerville gets 1.2 on the scoreboard, and that was talked about by your officials, Allison and Galizzi. They discussed, they watched the clock. The trail official watches the clock. He knows that there was that much time left. Now, if you're Revere, stand at half court. Don't foul. The last thing you want to do is foul, Revere. All you got to do here, if you're Revere, is hands up, don't foul the shooter, and you're going to overtime. Look for a long pass. Look for somebody to break to the basket, maybe Jackson Pyman. If you're Mayorga, you stay back. If you're Ethan Day, you get back. If you're Dobre, you guard the half court. If you're Jackson Pyman, you break to the basket, Jackson Pyman. Julian, turnover. Allison says that is it. and we go to overtime. Let's put a 5 on the scoreboard and let's go to overtime. I'm gonna go to overtime. Great effort. And we need to put 5 on the scoreboard. The best thing is Joe Constantine had that podium mic'd because we got every last word that all of these people said. Bobby Mello is an incredible speaker. It'd been nice to hear Bobby Mello speak because Bobby Mello one time was part of that coaching staff for so long. So let's reset. The unfortunate thing for Revere, 4 fouls on Mercado. He is out of the game. Somerville really only foul trouble is Carlins with 3 and Julian with 3. $24 points for Ethan Day. As they will jump it up. Let's put 5 on the scoreboard. Let's put a 5 on the scoreboard. You're going the same way, guys. You're not switching sides here. A lot of players never get the chance to play in overtime. Now you have 4 minutes to go. No reason to overexert yourselves here. Each team gets an extra timeout. How is it possible that 2 consecutive jump balls to start the game and the overtime, the ball goes out of bounds? You rarely see that once a season. Steal! Brian, next dead ball, get him to put 5 on the scoreboard. Get him to put 5 on the scoreboard, next dead ball. For the 5th quarter, for the overtime. Oh, it helps. What's the question, Larry? And they're saying that it was a loose ball foul. Larry wants... tie game at 42. Now Somerville gets an opportunity for their first possession. Julian. Somerville has played this lineup. Look for Jackson Pyman to get back in, who's really covered Ethan Day well. Tommy Griffin. Julian. Reed. Screen by Carlins. Screen and roll. Off. Rebound by Berry, who's been incredible as he's come back in with 6 rebounds. Joe Constantine will show a replay of that play, saying it could have been a 2. I thought it was a 2 as well. Ethan Day. Over to Mayorga, sweeping right-handed hook. These guys are exhausted. Well, it all depends on did he step back on the release, Joe. That's all depends. Right there in that shot, he is over the line, but he did a step back. This Revere team is exhausted, and Somerville takes advantage of it. But no, another rebound by Dobre. 8 rebounds all the way in for 2. Count it by Long, who has been an exceptional scorer. It's just a matter of time. You keep Long under his average. He had 25 points at Chelsea earlier this year. 2-point lead for Revere. 2:22 left. Tommy Griffin. Rebound by Reed. It's stolen by Long, who's just taken over. David Leary wants a timeout. Don't waste it now. Long gets the board. Jerry Knight also played at Northeastern University with John Kelly, 6'2", from Somerville. All of you out there will remember John Kelly and what he did in his career living in Somerville. He played with Jerry Knight. and Northeastern University. Mike Jarvis also. Now, Jerry Knight got a chance to play with Mike Jarvis, Northeastern, coached against him, Cambridge Ridge and Latin. Imagine that. You get a chance to not only get a chance to coach your home team, but also get a chance to coach against players. It happened with the Perrys. The Perrys coached against each other, coaching different programs when they were in Somerville. As I mentioned, the coaches prior to Jerry Knight, Vin Cronin, 92-11 in the league, 89% winning percentage. Jim Sullivan, 222-23, 91% winning percentage. And Walter Perry, 78-10, 89% winning percentage. Imagine the pressure Jerry Knight had on him, and he retaliated with that and threw it back at all the people who said he couldn't do it, with a 78% winning percentage in the league for Somerville. Bounce pass to Berry. Lung over to Ethan Day. All the way off the glass, Ethan Day. No, Mayorga. Berry gets the rebound in the paint. Ethan Day, Berry again. Off the glass for two. Berry's first 2 points of the game, who's been an exceptional player. For three. Goodrich for three. As they cut it to one with 1:28 to go. Is there a double overtime? Carry! And the coaching staff for Revere says no. Problem is, you don't see that called as much as Mr. Galizzi just called it. Somerville looking to take the lead in the overtime here with 1:16 left to go. Defense is a chant for Revere from their bench. Jacob, Julian, over to Reed in the corner. Doesn't shoot the three, goes in for two. Off the glass, another rebound by Berry. And steal by Julian. Knocks Lung to the ground. Reed for three. Push off on. That's a push off on foul. It's on definitely on Jacob. He pushed off. Jacob pushed him from behind. Yeah, are they calling on Julian or Jacob? So Julian, that's 4 for Julian. The foul should have been on Jacob. I mean, Jacob had his elbow right into his back and gave him a shove. 53 seconds to go. Now Dubray has missed his last 2. He is 4 for 6. The crowd is loud. He has missed 3 in a row. 53 seconds to go in the overtime. Scoreboard still showing 4. Look for Jackson Pyman to come in next dead ball. Rebound out of bounds. Off Berry. Devin Berry out of bounds with 53 seconds to go. And does Larry want a timeout? No. Tired legs, as coaches do. They will, when you run in practice, you stop and send somebody to the free throw line. That shows how to score at the free throw line under exhaustion. Over to Reed. He wants an up fake. Bounce pass in the paint. Another steal by Berry. He's holding on to a tight jump ball. Possession Somerville. And Larry is saying he got fouled. Timeout. Who?
Timeout Somerville.
Revere has 2 timeouts left. Somerville has 1. So as I mentioned earlier, the crowning achievement for the girls program and head coach Brian Harris and his staff, along with Joel Martin, the Helens, the Fosters, helping out bringing women's athletics, girls athletics to Somerville. Somerville ended up as a Division I North champion under Jerry Knight as the AD. They got to the Division I North game 3 different times, winning 1 and advancing to the Eastern Mass semifinal in the Garden, which sadly, that part of the tournament doesn't exist anymore. Hopefully my battery is still good, as we're not used to going this long. So credit Jerry Knight, and I know if the late Charlene Harris was here, she would have been here right in front taking pictures, as she was very close with Jerry Knight all those years when she worked in this building and developed athletics around Somerville. And it was great to see coaches from other sports. George Scarpelli was here. Somerville gets the ball underneath their own basket. 30 seconds left. Will lightning strike twice for Revere. Ethan Day gets fouled to Jacob. Only 2 fouls on Ethan Day, sending Jacob to the line for 2. Ethan Day just got a little excited there, wanted to get the steal. Jacob is 3 for 6 from the line tonight. Jackson Pyman, as I mentioned, back in the game. In for defense to guard. The best Somerville can do right now is tie it up. The best Revere can do is get an offensive board, either Berry or Day or Dobre. And that's what happens. Somerville has to foul. Jackson Pyman fouls Ethan Day, and that's not who you wanted to foul. As the coaching staff showed their exasperation, you could have fouled Dobre right away on the rebound. Now, Dobre, okay? Dobre has 14 boards. Exceptional play by Charles, number 33. Ethan Day can put them up by 3. Up by 2 with 24 seconds to go, and Coach Leary pulls everybody back so there's not an unnecessary foul. And you could have got the rebound. Because Jackson Pyman gets the board. 20 seconds to go, down by 2. Jackson Pyman wants a 3. Travel. Oh, Dobre! Oh, Ethan Day! Incredible! Ethan Day at the buzzer.
Final score, Revere 49, Somerville 45. Fans, that concludes tonight's game. Highlanders' next home game is next Thursday, January 16th, against the Golden Tornadoes at 7 p.m.
Okay, here we go. For Somerville, 2 points for Reed, but Reed played exceptional defense, switching between guard and Ethan Day, and had 5 boards. 3 points for Carlins, but that does not explain the 15 rebounds that Carlins had, playing incredible minutes tonight, well into the overtime. 5 points for Jacob. Jacob with 5 points and 5 rebounds. Jackson Pyman, 5 points, 9 rebounds. At one point, Revere was out-rebounding you, but leading the way, 24 points for Julian, for a total of 45 in the overtime, and their free throws were 6 for 14. For Revere, again, Somerville, 3 straight games now, they've kept a lot of their scorers well underneath their average. 2 points for Berry, but Berry has got to be in contention for MVP of the game. He came back in the second half. 10 rebounds for Berry, only 2 points, but he was exceptional in that overtime. 3 points for Mercado, who's a great point guard, fouled out, having to guard Julian the whole game. Mayorga with 4. 6 for Dubre, but 12 rebounds. Exceptional talent is what they have. 7 points for Lung, and leading the way, Ethan Day with 27, They were 10 for 19 from the free throw line. So that's when you look at what Somerville did, is you kept them underneath their average. Now, Somerville is now 1-7, and Revere goes to 4-5. Somerville's next game will be against Malden here on the 16th next week, and then get ready for that Tufts University game against Medford, and you got all those players coming back against Medford. Now, as you have noticed, and I mentioned before the game, Kevin Scott was not here tonight. Kevin Scott works with the fiancée of the late Michael G. Babul, who was from North Attleboro High School, grew up in North Attleboro, has a twin brother. Gatorade Player of the Year, National Parade All-American, 4th team, went to UMass. He was all-time defensive team 3 times in the Atlantic 10, a co-captain. After his playing career, he became a D1 coach in many colleges, Memphis, Auburn, Texas El Paso, Wagner, and then the height of his professional career, he was an assistant coach in the Brooklyn Nets department and an assistant coach with the Long Island Nets of the G League. On December 30th, Michael Babul got up from the table and had a cardiac arrest event, and unfortunately, he passed away. At the time, he's the current Thayer Academy head coach. They turned their season around. He had great players, and Kevin Scott tonight is representing us, representing his family, and representing the place he works at the services for Mr. Michael Babul, who passed away. Kevin spent a lot of time yesterday talking with his twin brother, who his twin brother works for the Atlanta Hawks. So everybody tonight, and for the rest of your life, take a second to realize everybody around you, because all he was doing was getting up from the table. And now this players, his family, lost a great man. And that's where Kevin Scott is tonight, representing us and representing his family. After the moment of silence, I'm going to lead into Jerry Knight. So I ask right now for a moment of silence for the late Michael Babul. Thank you. Now, to Jerry Knight. The best thing that Jerry Knight said the whole night. He looked over at that Ring of Honor banner. Everything you talked about as a player in high school, record holder, all scholastic, AD, award winner, all these banners here have something to do with Jerry Knight, including the cheerleading program. I didn't even mention them. And that was the best thing. Jerry Knight brought the cheerleaders over. The cheerleaders became, although they did not fall under athletics, they fell under his programs. And they went to national titles in Florida. You can see all the banners that all the cheerleader coaches over the years, and Coach Alley right now represents in bringing the players out. But the best thing Jerry Knight said with all the awards, he looked over at the banner and he pointed to it and he said, "Nothing will surpass this." And on behalf of my family, my father, Dr. Albert F. Argenziano, who was a superintendent of schools here from 1993 to 2005. Jerry Knight worked with him. They became very close friends. One of my father's best friends. I know that Jerry talked with him regularly. They spoke all the time, and when my father passed away, Jerry Knight reached out to us and let us know anything we need. So that's the kind of person Jerry Knight is, who lost a great friend, but the number one thing he looked at was to check out with the family how they're doing. And I throw this to you, Jerry. Nothing will surpass this. For Joe Constantine and Bill Trudell, along with Kevin Scott here, who is here in spirit, Somerville High School falls to Revere in overtime, 49-45. You have been watching Somerville High School boys varsity basketball on Somerville Ed TV. Now enjoy the life of Jerry Knight.
the way. Our team will cut the victory, for the whole will lead the way. We got the golden thread to lift the head, we got the golden thread to lift the head. Fight it all our lives for the team, baby, all the will lead the way. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.